Hi everybody, it's Amber Amethyst, and today we'll be talking about one of my favorite shows ever made, Gravity Falls. One of the amazing things about the show Gravity Falls are its characters. There's such a wide variety of characters, both main characters, supporting characters, even minor side characters. But I also think that one of the things that this show excels in are its use of antagonists. Of course, the most notable being its main villain, Cipher, and even its secondary antagonist being Gideon Gleeful. And it also has a lot of really great one-time antagonists such as Giffany and the Shapeshifter and the Lumberjack Ghost from Northwest Mansion Mystery. And there are a lot of other recurring antagonists, which some of them actually do end up redeeming themselves, such as Pacifica Northwest and Robbie Valentino. But when people talk about the villains of Gravity Falls, for the most part, they're referring to the main ones being Bill and Gideon, and even other times the secondary ones who have like one appearance. For the most part, characters who are villains in one episode, a lot of times will come back and actually be on the protagonist's side, such as the Manitors and the Lilliputians, who both of them do end up making another appearance in another episode. They're actually not even the main focus of the episode, they're just there. However, I do think there is one antagonist in particular who is often forgotten about, and that is Tate McGucket. And I will go ahead and mention right now that this video will contain spoilers for both the show Gravity Falls and Journal 3. Recap, Tate McGucket is Fiddleford McGucket's son. We first see him in the episode Legend of the Gobblewonker, as he is the manager of the lake that they are fishing at, and he is seen as being very annoyed and embarrassed by his father, who was suffering from some form of dementia, which allows him to freak out, and he's scaring all the other guests, talking about this creature called the Gobblewonker, which apparently lives in the lake. And Tate McGucket, understandably, doesn't like this, is scaring away the customers, but I don't like the way he really treats his father. Like, he treats him like a dog, spraying him with the spray bottle. And we just see that through episode, as the episode continues, through McGucket's flashbacks, that every time he's tried to spend time with Tate, he's ignored. It shows him shutting the blinds in his face, just completely ignoring him. Now, as we come to find out later in the episode Society of the Blind Eye, and even in more detail through Journal 3, that McGucket wasn't always the way he is now. It was actually a result of this memory gun he created. It's explained in a lot more detail in the journal, and McGucket suffered from anxiety. And so coming to Gravity Falls was probably not the best thing for him. But when Ford asked for his help, the portal, because from his very first introduction, shows that he is highly advanced with mechanics and engineering. He can create, he created the Gobblewonker machine. You also see him in Gideon Rises, that he was the one who created the Gideon bot, helped pretty much engineer the Shocktron, which they used to fight against Bill in the final episode. And we've also seen also in Legend of the Gobblewonker, we get very brief images of some of the things that he's invented. He is also about how he was trying to make home computers back in the 70s before Ford asked him to come build the portal. And so that would be why he came to Gravity Falls, is because while Ford was a genius in so many other things, not so much mechanics, that's why he asked Fiddleford to come help him, because of someone he knew personally. And so during his stay in Gravity Falls, he encountered a lot of supernatural creatures. Most notably is the Gremloblin. If you remember in the episode Boss Mabel, the Gremloblin allows you to see your worst fear, and in the Journal 3, it actually does document that they ran into one, and Fiddleford was the one who was injured by the Gremloblin. He actually broke his arm during this ordeal, and he was clearly shaken up about it, so he ends up inventing this memory gun. And as we see in Society of the Blind Eye, that yes, while it was very successful in erasing those bad memories, the more he used it, the more apparent and harmful the side effects were. Yes, it would get rid of that bad memory, but it would also take other things from his memory. Like, we have a video recording of him as he's documenting via video how that has affected, and yes, it worked. He's come up with this way. He is losing these bad memories, but we also see the negative side effects, such as him starting to forget words. He's starting to just lose his mind. His mind is just deteriorating up until the very, very last video document, which is showing him in his current state. his mind is completely gone. We know at some point that his wife divorced him because Fiddleford actually created a machine as revenge for this, thinking the reason that she might have divorced him was the fact that he never came back. And the reason I say this is because it's never mentioned that he went back. Unfortunately, we don't know what happened to McGucket other than those few video glimpses we get in Society of the Blind Eye, because after Ford goes into the portal, we get nothing more in the journal. We hear nothing more of on McGucket's side of the story. But I am assuming that he never went back home due to the fact that, one, he is still living in Gravity Falls, and two, that Tate McGucket is living in Gravity Falls. So I do think that at one point Tate did come looking for him, and he did not like what he found. And again, we don't know what happened during this time, if he tried to get him help. But the point is, while I could be understanding the fact that at some point maybe Tate just gave up, it became too much for him. However, I cannot let slide the fact that he just practically abandoned his father. I mean, the man lives in the dump. We rarely ever see him eat a nutritious meal. Like, we see him eat a dinosaur. He tried to eat Seuss in a pig's body. At one episode, he was eating the books in the library and encouraging the children to do so as well. And another episode, we see him just downing coffee at the diner. And maybe we can assume that because he has seen the diner in 2 separate episodes, that maybe Lazy Susan does take pity on him and give him food. I mean, clearly he does eat something because of the fact that he's still alive, but I can't say that it's actually really, like, he's eating great food. He's probably just eating whatever he can, whatever he finds in the dump, and just the fact that his son is there in town and is offering him no help whatsoever. At this point, he wants nothing to do with his father, but the fact that in that one scene, he just shut him out. McGucket's wanting to play ball with him because clearly his mind's not there. His mind's retreating to an earlier time when he was probably playing baseball or catch with his son, and Tate wants nothing to do with him. He just pretty much just flat out abandoned him. And we don't know. He may have tried to get him help. He may have tried to put him in a home. Maybe he escaped. But the point is, he just gave up. I think that just puts him in a very bad light because McGucket's not in his right state of mind. And yes, you can argue that he did it to himself, but he didn't know what the results of that machine was. He just wanted the anxiety to go away, and it might have been a lot for Tate to handle, but still the fact is he just pretty much decided just to give up and not handle it at all. However, I would say on some level that all these things are forgivable. I mean, at some point you can understand, okay, we don't know, and unfortunately I don't think we're ever going to get that. If it ever is, I think it would be very nice to actually see what had transpired between them, because as of now we don't know what happened once Tate came to Gravity Falls. But maybe it was too hard for him to handle. Maybe he did try, and at some point he's just like, I just can't do this anymore. If this is how he wants to live, I can't do it anymore. But there was one thing about Tate in particular that just completely just annoyed me to no end, and that is regarding the finale. In the very last episode, we're in part 3, McGucket has finally gotten his sanity back, and he, because of his inventions, has become an overnight millionaire. And it's at this point that Tate decides to give his father another chance. And this last thing could just be an effect of just bad timing as far as the show itself. And I just think, again, it's the timing of when he was crazy, when he was poor, when he needed help, Tate was nowhere to be seen. But as soon as it becomes beneficial for Tate, there he is, wanting to reconcile with his father. And again, it could just be the fact that the world just almost ended. We almost just had the literal end of the world. It was pretty much an apocalypse. Maybe that's what, at that moment, Fiddleford and Tate decided, okay, it's time to move on from that. It's time to appreciate family because it was almost taken away. I mean, Fiddleford could have probably actually seen his son turn into stone, and that might have been, and had it ended on that of like, okay, after all this stuff that has happened, yes, we need to work this out. We need to be a family again. And the fact that McGucket, okay, he's starting to get his sanity back. Okay, that's great. They can make up for time lost. But it's just the fact that this just so happened to coincide with McGucket getting his sanity back and getting all this money that just really, it just looks very bad on Tate. It's like, no, you do not get a reward for abandoning your father for all these years, only coming back when there's something in it for you. And that might not even be Tate's fault. It just might be that's just the way it just so happened to play out in the show, that it just so happened to happen at the exact same time. But I just didn't like it. I am not a Tate fan because of that. It just gives a whole sense of an ulterior motive. And for that reason, I do consider Tate McGucket to be a villain from the show, just because of the fact that he was not there when his father needed him. But as soon as it had a silver lining for Tate, there he was, ready to start over. Well, anyway, so this was it for this episode, and you are free to agree or disagree. Leave your thoughts in the comments. I would love to read them. So I thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.